as you look at the poster for the movie Nobody, you might think that, hey, this bears a striking resemblance to another movie poster I've seen. And you would be correct. It's basically the exact same poster as the John Wick poster. And I mean, this movie has the exact same plot as John Wick. It even has the same music as John Wick. Parabellum, John Wick Chapter 3, they had I Did It My Way by Frank Sinatra. And then they also have it in this movie. And a lot of this film, like down to the scenes, feels like a recreation of John Wick. And I was watching this and like, how did they not get sued for making this? Because this is very obviously a like a complete ripoff. And I said the only reason that they wouldn't have gotten sued, and I didn't know anything about the production of this movie, is if this was made by the same people who made John Wick. And lo and behold, same production company who made John Wick. We have the same director, I think. No, not the well, one of the same directors. There's like um I think the same. I think the guy who produced this movie was the director of John Wick. It has the same writer, same production company. So, yeah, it is. It's literally just a slight adaptation of John Wick. Like, they didn't even try to make it different at all. It's basically the same movie, which is kind of. I don't know how to feel about it. On one hand, I can say it's super lazy and make fun of it for that. On the other hand, I do admire the balls of them for just blatantly ripping off their own material. I mean, there's nothing wrong with something being inspired for something else or something being a completely different version of something. But it's not like John Wick is a particularly old movie to begin with. John Wick Chapter 1 only came out in like 2014, and Parabellum only came out a year or two ago. So it's just like they didn't even wait till the body, like the 100 bodies Keanu Reeves shot, were cold before they made this complete ripoff. Now, does that make it bad? No, this isn't a bad movie by any means. It's watchable. Um, Bob Odenkirk's always good to see. I don't really know why they picked him for this role. I guess because Better Call Saul's big at the moment. But it's I don't know, if you like John Wick a lot and you've thought to yourself that, hey, I could use some more John Wick, then yeah, you should go with that. So maybe let's just kind of take a look into this film. So we have our main person, Hutch Mansell, played by Bob Odenkirk, and we get a montage of his daily life. He gets up, gets his coffee, jogs, does pull ups on his bus shelter. The bus shelter of his bus stop. He goes to work where he does, I think it's like accounting or auditing or something. Then he comes home, and that's just kind of his boring life. So he's really being ground down. Once again, boring life. I forget if they had that at the start of John Wick. Reminders, if I recall, he was just kind of living in retirement with his dog and nothing was really happening, which is kind of like this, but I guess Hutch is married and has kids, so that's slightly different. But yeah, so one night an armed man and women break into his house, and his son tackles one of them, but he's reluctant to interfere and he allows the thieves to leave. Basically, everyone just makes fun of him and like calls him a cock and says he's a loser and says he should have protected his family. It's I think the funniest part of this is, once again, this is exactly what happened in John Wick, where they broke into his house, stole his dog and his car, and that's what got him back in the game. He had gotten out. He was in retirement, but they just dragged him back in. So they stole his watch and his his daughter's kitty cat bracelet, which is kind of like the dog in this movie. Like they killed his dog and he wants revenge. They took the kitty cat bracelet of his daughter and he wants revenge. It turns out later that the burglars were desperate, scared, and were using an unloaded gun, and they were never really in any real danger. However, because the kitty cat bracelet's gone, he's gonna go postal on them. So he goes to see his father, played by Christopher Lloyd, which is kind of a bizarre cameo, but it's fine. And he takes his gun, takes a gun back, his FBI badge, and he starts going through the city, going to every different tattoo parlor, trying to track down. He saw a distinctive marking on the one person's arm. So he goes there, he beats the guy up, he gets his watch back. They don't have the kitty cat bracelet, though. They don't. So he takes his watch back. There's no kitty cat bracelet. He starts heading home on the bus again. And a group of Russian mobsters crash their car into a cement barricade or something. And then they get on the bus and they start making moves with a woman on it. And it looks like they're going to gang rape her or something like that. So Hutch is pissed off. They took his kitty cat bracelet. He didn't get the kitty cat bracelet back. It's time for him to just go nuclear on their ass. So he beats the shit out of all of them. He winds up their leader. He does that thing like where he smashes his throat in, and then he has to cut his throat open and put a straw in so he could keep breathing. So he's beat up these Russian mobsters. So it turns out the brother of the guy who he beat the shit out of, who looks like his son, so I guess that's a slight difference, is a sadistic Russian crime lord who is also dissatisfied with his position and is just a complete insane psychopath. And he wants to get revenge because even though his son, I mean brother, is like an idiot and completely incompetent and was asking for what he got, his honor as a mobster means he has to take down Hutch. So he sends a team of guys to kill Hutch. Once again, not at all like what happened in John Wick. Hutch puts them in the basement. He manages to kill most of them, except for the Ethiopian Russian guy who tases him. He breaks out of the car and kills everybody on board. Then he comes back and kills the rest of them. It turns out that Hutch is an auditor, which is an assassin employed by intelligence agencies to kill people who are considered untouchable. Specifically, I guess people who go rogue or something. Apparently, in the past, one of the targets he let go reformed his life and was living as a married man, and he decided that he was going to do the same thing. So yeah, so Hutch has killed all the assassins sent after him. His family's gone to safety. He burns his house down. He takes his secret stash of gold coins. I mean, not gold coins, gold bars. They're not a set of gold coins that he keeps in his basement hidden like John Wick. This is really different. It's a bunch of gold bars that he keeps in his basement hidden. So once again, a lot of big changes they made here. So he uses those to buy the hardware business of his father-in-law that he was working at, and he's going to set it up as like a fun house, like in The Equalizer or Rambo Last Blood or any other similar movie, or Skyfall, and he's going to use it as a place to ambush people who come after him. So he goes to a Russian guy in a scene not at all like John Wick and is like, "Look, we're even. I beat the crap out of your son, your sorry, not your son, your brother, who is not played by Theon Greyjoy, and we're just gonna call it quits." He burns down the money of the Russian guy who owns the club, and they have like this thing. He's like, "No, I'm gonna have to kill you. My honor demands it, even though this is stupid and it's probably gonna lead to my death." So he goes and he sets up, like I said, the business to be like an evil death trap fun house. And his ex brother, his half brother comes out and helps him, as does his father. And we get a pretty cool action scene where they succeed in taking down all the guys they send after them. He kills the Russian guy by putting a claymore mine on a bulletproof shield and charging at him. And then he pulls the thing on it. So the mine, because I think Claymore mines only explode in the frontward direction. I'm not sure how far behind it you have to be to not get hit by it, but somehow that works, and it's kind of a cool scene. So they kill the Russian guy, um, and then 3 months later, he buys a new house with his wife. He receives a call saying, "You're back in the game now, Hutch. You're back to being a professional assassin. We need to set up Nobody Chapter 2." Maybe they'll do a crossover with John Wick. Although Hutch is nowhere near as good as John Wick in terms of his combat abilities, but I digress. So yeah, so then yeah, him and his father and half brother are shown driving an RV full of guns to an undisclosed location, and we're set up for a sequel. Let me see if there's any. Um, oh, okay. I'm looking at the Wikipedia article. There is a potential for a crossover with the John Wick franchise. You mean this doesn't take place in the John Wick franchise? And nobody, despite being made by Universal and Lionsgate, it would be done in a small and subtle Easter egg reference manner, not a franchise or cinematic universe. Yep, the same creative teams and studios made the respective films. Yeah, I mean it's pretty obvious that they did. Let me see. Did anyone complain that this is just a complete like ripoff? No, I don't think they did. I mean, can you rip your own stuff off? That's a good question. Like when what's his name decided to reboot JoJo and he made Steel Ball Run? Was that a ripoff of Phantom Blood? I guess it wasn't. I don't really know, to be honest, but yeah, that's Nobody. It's not a bad movie. I know I made a lot of fun of it. You might I don't know, if you want to see it, you want to see it. It's not a bad way to spend an hour and a half. I'm going to give the movie a solid okay. It's like a 6 out of 10. If you're looking for like a mindless action movie that's basically John Wick, if you can't wait for John Wick Chapter 4 to come out next year, you might as well give Nobody a try. Otherwise, it's just kind of like, whatever.